Heart age. We've been discussing about metabolic age, chronological age, physiological age, and biological age. But do you know what is heart age? My name is Dr. Jason, and please follow me on YouTube, Dr. Jason's. And if you want to get a notification, please press the bell button. Now, chronological age is the calendar age. You know that one. Which you have a birthday, the day you born, that is called your chronological age. But physiological age or biological age or all this is actually related to your health and your fitness scores. So if somebody is really fit and they don't have a much of fat weight and they have lean body and they have mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, they are fit enough, then we can have they are young at their physiological or biological age that we have discussed. Now, what is heart age? Now, I just wanted to share a few things before that. Now, we know that people with a high stress level, they may get a heart disease. People with a cholesterol level, they can get a heart disease. People with a high visceral fat, they can get a heart disease. And many other, and coronary heart disease is alarming these days. So one of the most important thing we are discussing here is how to improve your heart health. And one of the main thing you know that is it is exercise. So you can reverse your heart age by doing certain pattern of exercise. That's what I'm going to share you today. In that also I wanted to share a story so you will understand why it is important. Now, I have shared you in one of my last video in Instagram. I have discussed about a doctor who shared a video. You can watch here for a link here also I'll put it. The doctor was explaining a cardiologist at the age of 41 got a heart attack and died. Now, he was quite healthy. He was not a smoker. He was eating healthy and he still got a heart attack. So the point he was making is here, maybe one of the fact is actually high level of work pattern. He was working more than 14 hours continuously, as well as he was standing and high level of stress level. That was one of the main reason it could have increased the cortisol and increased the chances of a heart disease. Number two, he was pinpointing whatever you do in your life, the first 30, 40 years is the platform for the people, or you wanted to improve your health the next 30 or 40 years if you're going to live. So you have to do something the first 40 years, because human body is designed for 40 years only. That's what he's mentioning. So literally, first 40 years you have to do something, then the next 20 to 40 years the body may serve you. Otherwise, you may get into diseases. That's what he's mentioning. Now, in order to do that, definitely you need to do the lifestyle modification as well as do some exercise. And you have to improve your cardiovascular efficiency to prevent any heart disease. Now, you can do certain exercises that you know that mainly when any diseases happen, lifestyle diseases happen, doctors say just go and do some exercise. That will be like walking. Now, if someone start walking in the day one, the first 5 or 10 days or 1 month, they will increase their resting heart rate to a certain level, and that we call as if they have a resting heart rate of 72 to over 80, that's a regular one, or the resting heart rate an average one. Some people are not fit, they might have more than 80, and they increase their heart rate, the resting heart rate, to 207 minus 65 to 85% of their heart rate, which is around 130, 140. They can achieve that. They started to get some benefit to improve their cardiovascular efficiency. But what happened is when they continue with exercise, their stamina increases. Okay, this is the point. When their stamina increases, the resting heart rate fall down, and they may need to increase the intensity of the exercise. Now, this is the tricky point here. Somebody with overweight, somebody with a joint problem, they may not able to increase the intensity. So only if they are walking, they need to go for a brisk walking, or they for a jogging, or they have to sprint eventually. So walking may not be the right exercise just to improve the cardiovascular efficiency or to prevent heart disease. You can get into a gym if you want. You can just walk for 5 minutes, and you can do some interval resistance exercise, which can actually deplete the glucose level and eventually if you just get into an elliptical or a cross trainer or a cycle, that actually increases the resting heart rate to a certain level, 130, 140, and eventually once you get into the threshold or once your stamina increases, you can play with the level without straining your back and knee, which is can actually increase the level to level 4 or level 5 on a cycle like this, which is easier for you to increase the intensity rather than you don't have to run. Am I right? So that actually elevates your resting heart rate to certain, even if your stamina is increased. So that is the way you progressively increase the intensity of the exercise. That actually increases the stamina. Once your stamina increases a certain level, your resting heart rate falls down to less than 30 or 40. Like an example, Usain Bolt, an athlete, he used to have a resting heart rate of around 32, where I used to have maximum of 52. Normally, the athletes will have 50, and the regular person will have around 72 to 80. So imagine Usain Bolt was having around 32 and the regular person is 72 or 80, 40 to 50 count, which means in a minute, the heart is beating less time. Less time means less numbers. So the Usain Bolt, such a huge guy, his heart is only beating 30 times or 40 times in order to give enough blood to everywhere and oxygen. And the normal or unfit person, his heart has to beat more than 80 times. So in a minute, it is almost 40 counts if you count. In an hour, it is 2,400 times the heart has to beat more, which means your heart is getting weaker and the heart is getting more aged. So in a day, it is 2,400 multiple by 24 hours. And you can imagine how many ever times the heart has to beat more in order to give the blood to the unhealthy person. Now the conclusion is, so try to get your resting heart rate down as much as possible to increasing the intensity of the exercise slowly and gradually and progressively. So that's a conclusion.